Joining us now, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, founder of the Rainbow Push Coalition, on this morning of mourning, as a matter of fact, as we cover the church shooting in Texas. Uh, um, Reverend Jackson, good morning. How are you this morning?
Well, it is a sad day in terms of the traumatic impact of the killing in First Baptist Church in Sulphur Springs, Texas, yesterday morning. There is no safe ground when violence is so pervasive. It's clear to me more guns make us less secure.
Mm-hmm.
Wise people must go another way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that we are cutting mental health in the budget and increasing access to guns. Opposite direction, cutting mental health in the budget and, in fact, making guns more accessible. That's almost a death wish.
Yeah, yeah. Um, we're in a dangerous place though, because when we talk about this issue and raise our concerns, it mobilizes their base more than ours. And here we are on the eve of Virginia's election, where the NRA is headquartered. It almost behooves us not to talk about it. Unfortunately, Reverend Jackson, because that could mobilize them in the polls tomorrow. And to me,
I
that's
don't
that's
know.
another part of the tragedy.
I'm not. I don't know. I just really don't know. I know that the president with the 8 were killed in New York last week had an instant answer: stop immigration or stop the way immigration is enforced. In this case, in the case of Las Vegas, I can only say it's not gun, it's mental health. If it's mental health, increase access to mental health. It's a combination of
Mm-hmm.
mental health and access to gun. That's what it is. And when politicians speak of so brazenly of guns as a way of defending ourselves, it becomes a fact of the culture. It becomes a kind of bottom line cultural thing. He's in Japan today.
Yes.
And one killing by gun last year. One.
Mm. Just one in Japan.
And while we focus on Texas today because of the drama of being in a church at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, men more than 26 were killed across the country yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We can focus on that because it's in one spot and it's so dramatic and traumatic.
Indeed, indeed.
Dr. King said nonviolence or non-existence. Nonviolence or non-existence. We must go another way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Reverend Jesse Jackson with us. Um, when Charleston happened, a couple of black deacons called into my show, Reverend Jackson, a few years ago, and debated me on whether or not churches and church deacons, church security should be armed, whether or not there should be arsenals in churches. And at that time, I didn't agree with that because the church is supposed to be a place of nonviolence, advocacy of nonviolence, Dr. King, Jesus, all of that. What's your position on that? Because I just don't know anymore.
Well, in a state where open and carry guns is legal, we must have guns to defend. And that I was also in the Texas State Legislature last year. Have open and carry weapons in the Texas State Legislature. It's just a matter of time, but the hot argument somebody could start shooting. So on their condition, you would not have a gun on the church. But if somebody comes in armed and you're not armed, you're just a sitting duck.
So you
Everything about it's repugnant. But somebody in church must be able to, if they spot, they must be able to do something other than duck.
yeah, yeah.
There's a commercial I saw where somebody came in with the arm and the arm of the security guards, everybody get low together. I said, well, once you shoot him, I can't say I don't care with it. I just warn people something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What a sad day, Reverend.
It's not a reflection of the church; it's a reflection of the society. Opening carry weapons are very opening carry weapons for society is polarized by race and by mental health and by gender is a very dangerous combination.
Yeah, yeah. 866-99-SERIOUS. Reverend, I believe that you are in Flint. Is that correct?
In Flint, Michigan. Yes, we went to 6 churches yesterday. We did rallies, and Karen Weaver's up for recall, if you can believe it.
The mayor of Flint is up for recall?
Yeah, and be up for recall, and so we support her tomorrow. She has, this town is growing economically like it's never grown before.
Who's trying to recall her? What is that about?
You replacing water pipes, water bottles, water pipes. Flint's on the growth curve again. There's an element that just never gave up on our victory. And so whether it's Karen Weaver in Flint, Mosley in Baltimore, or emergency managers in Puerto Rico, it's the same basic point of view.
So who's advocating for her to be recalled, Reverend?
Well, some members of the council, and it's a quirk in the law. We have to say every time you can, if you wait a year, you can recall. It's a political stunt, not based on corruption. It's just a political stunt.
Okay. BMW. How was the meeting? We haven't talked since you met with BMW. How's the meeting? How was that?
It was a good meeting, but no progress. 340 dealerships, 5 African Americans, 5. They had 12 some years ago. It's down as opposed to up. Mm-hmm. No African American lawyers or ad agencies or marketing or financial service or construction. At this point, there's no plan to change the paradigm that we expect. And a follow-up meeting at some point in Spartanburg, Greenville, South Carolina, where the plant to build BMWs exists. But in the meantime, we keep the pressure until something happens. There is no plan to close the gap.
The boycott continues then, correct?
Absolutely. We do not need them. They need us. I tell you, a good struggle with BMW may very well affect the rest of the cars, automobile companies, how they look at us. There's more in the car than the ride. There's more in the car than the ride. There's business there. If we can see the business in the automobile industry, advertising, marketing, employment, contracts, the whole range of services is in that car, not just the ride.
Reverend Jesse Jackson with us. I'm going to get a quick call in before we go, or two in before we go, Reverend. Tyrone's in New York. Tyrone, God bless you. Good morning, get woke. You're on there with Reverend Jesse Jackson. Go right ahead.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure and an honor to speak to both of you. And definitely an icon like Jesse Jackson. I was calling about the gun violence situation,
Please.
Because we refuse to pay attention to the elephant in the room, and we're going to continue to act like the problem is not the gun, not mental. They switch it around from mental illness, but they never want to talk about this gun situation, not unless as an Arabic person, they could call it terrorism, which they don't even say that this is terrorism, which it is. And, they pick and choose how to feed the public with the media, with information. And it is horrible how we're getting led by the nose, but with false information. I'm glad that you out here, Mark, and giving us reality, which a lot of people hate reality or the truth, and they don't want to deal with it.
Reverend Jackson, it seems, thank you, Tyrone, it seems that even, and I wrote about this several years ago after Aurora, how people's obsession with black-on-black violence wasn't safe for whites. Because now I think it's been proven that gun violence in the black community, where we have become numb to it, unfortunately, whites have become numb to this type of white-on-white violence in their own community.
There's always 2 sets of rules. If blacks taking crack, build more jails. If whites are taking this heavy drug out in the Adderall, build more hospitals and more doctors. For them, doctors and hospitals, plus police and jails, 2 sets of rules. If the killing in Las Vegas, if it had been a white shoot blacks, it would have been an easy explanation. Blacks been shooting whites, easy explanation. Yeah. Whites shooting whites, the language was neutered. The fact is, killing, we must stop the killing. Don't discolor it. Stop the killing itself.
Spot, baby.
Yeah.
As a reason, crime must be challenged.
Yeah. Reverend Jesse Jackson with us in Flint. How long you in Flint, Reverend?
We'll leave today, and I hope the election's tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, so where will you be on election day?
I'm not sure yet. Hopefully in Flint, but we just don't know. We
Okay.
hope a major turnout in Virginia. We have the balls in our hands if we can throw the ball. In Virginia, 800,000 blacks registered, 600,000 registered, 800,000 eligible, 150,000 Asians, 110,000 Latinos. We will determine the winner or loser by action or inaction in Virginia.
Yeah.
We have the numbers in our hand in New Jersey. The same is true in here in Flint, Michigan. When they voted 7% the last time, we can't keep one day and 50 years ago. We didn't have the power that we only had prayer and hope. Now we have the votes. Let's use these votes for liberation. If you don't fight back, you lose the right to complain. If you don't fight back, you lose the right to complain.
Amen. Reverend Jesse Jackson with us. Reverend, as always, we appreciate you, sir. And we will talk a little bit later, okay? Thank you. 866-99-SERIOUS. Tim's in Florida. Tim, God bless you. Good morning. Get ready for impeachment.
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Boy, am I ready for impeachment. I know you didn't want to talk about the whole gun thing, and I just want to pull you back, Mark. We can't I don't understand why we can't mobilize our base when these things just continue to happen. I mean, I'm a white, middle-class guy who lives in Florida. Hunting is big here. But, I mean, the answer, this guy was about as crazy as nobody. I mean, every time one of these things happen, just like in Vegas, they want to throw out, oh, it's mental health. He wasn't crazy. He did a year in prison for assaulting his wife and assaulting his kid. He wasn't crazy. They teeter on the edge, and then, you know, they copy like what happened in Vegas. I mean, we need to mobilize the Democratic base and say we've had enough. This is just, nobody wants your 12 gauge that you go deer hunting with. But this BS with mobilizing the base that we're coming after your guns is just a bucket of BS that the NRA knows they can throw and jazz up number 45's base, and it's just got to stop. You know, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing mental health. It's not mental health. It's so much access. And I know you were saying that back a while ago you were not for arming inside the churches. I mean, the church is a sanctuary, and when you can't feel safe there, but just because Texas is an open carry place to arm the pastor of a church or parishioners, and I was telling my brother this morning, as soon as I heard a blurb about a resident with a gun confronting him, but the fact of the matter is he was already in the church. He had already shot up those poor people when he was confronted. So the fact that this guy confronted him after the fact, or he could have done more damage, maybe he would have, but maybe he had already done the deed. Mm-hmm. So that's not what we should focus on. And unfortunately, that's what's his face, the big orange blob, wants to say, is that, oh, well, it could have been much worse. That's bullshit. I'm just so sick and tired of the same thing, waking up day after damn day with another mass shooting, and it's always a stupid-ass white person that does it, and they don't say nothing except that it's mental health. Sorry, Mark, but that's my rant, and I love you, man. And
but like I said, we're what a few hours, we're 24 hours away.
I know.
From Virginia. The NRA headquarters is in Virginia. There isn't anything that's not political. I'm sorry.
You're right.
And
You're right.
So there are those in Virginia that are hoping this mobilizes the gun base in Virginia to elect Gillespie. Trust me, they are hoping for that. The NRA is hoping for that. And they're going to use our reaction to it to make sure that that happens. See, and you talk about mobilizing us. See, we're like the people in the church. They're just sheep. Nobody went to church yesterday and expected to be killed. None of us woke up yesterday morning and expected the largest mass shooting in a church in history to occur. See, even when they say the good guy with a gun, well, how often is a good guy with a gun walking around ready to use it? And if we're at that point in America, something is really wrong. Because what's going to happen is one of these good guys, for example, so in this church situation, or in any situation, we talk about Aurora. This came up in Aurora. Well, somebody had a gun. If the cops show up, nobody's going to know who the real shooter is, who started it. So,
right, and that was proven in Dallas back when that incident in Dallas back a year or two ago, and the cops even said they weren't sure who was the good guy and who was the bad guy.
Right. So all of this is a very, very dangerous proposition. And folks were going forward in Virginia trying to elect a Democratic governor. But if you add this to the top of it, I'm sorry to say, because, see, the Trump base is demoralized. They're demoralized by him and his behavior. I'm sure somewhat demoralized by what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. And so now you want to get people motivated to go out to the polls. They're trying to take our guns away. They're trying to take our guns away. You see? So I'm just really concerned about that. So for just the next 24 hours, yeah, I'm for the Second Amendment, all the guns y'all want to have. Knock yourself out. You want some guns? Get some more. Get some more guns. We don't need no gun. Good guy with guns. We got good guys with guns. I'm going to get me, you know what? I'm going to get me a gun. I'm going to get me, Brendan Andrew, a gun day. What y'all doing this afternoon? We're going to get some guns. Guns! And then we'll talk about the other thing Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the trick.
I hear you, Mark.
We'll talk about the other thing Wednesday.
God bless you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love you.
All right, love you too. Take care of yourself. Folks, do get out and vote. Go to iwillvote.com to determine, make sure you're registered, know where to go vote. There's the Knock 10 app. Knock 10 on all your smartphones. Get that app so you can knock on doors, go find your neighbors so they get out to vote tomorrow. We must vote. Go to Democrats.org. I'm going to tell you all this other controversy with the party, too. Let it go. Let it go. We'll deal with that Wednesday. Whatever you mad about the party or what folks didn't do or who had what joint fundraising agreement, who was in charge, who had control, let's deal with it Wednesday. It's all good. That's what we need to do. We'll take a break and take it to the top of the hour, 866-99 Series. Stay tuned. Sam Smith is going to join us from the Progressive Review. So stay tuned for that. Sirius XM Progress 127, Resistance Radio. Get woke, get ready for impeachment. This is MIP.